So I'm shooting this video to give you guys some ideas about how you can manage technology when you've got kids that are maybe unexpectedly stuck at home rather than being at school, and you're wanting to keep them busy and out of trouble, and maybe you want to be able to get a few things done or get a little time to yourself, and you may be struggling with fights over getting them to put video games down because it's time to do some school type or academic type activity, and maybe you're a little bit concerned that it might not be healthy for them to spend all of their time, staring at a little screen right in front of their face. So some of the ideas I'm going to introduce to you here in this video real quick, and then I'm also going to refer you to some more documents and videos that I have on my free resources page at Intensivecareforyou.com. So I'm going to put that URL in text down below this video on YouTube here. And I'm Brad Mason. I'm a licensed specialist in school psychology, a licensed psychological associate, and a licensed professional counselor. I own and operate the Autism Clinic and Family Counseling Center in Georgetown, Texas. And I've also raised 5 boys and a girl. So I've gotten to have a little bit of practice with dealing with these kinds of challenges before, and I'm hoping you can use this as a shortcut to help you do what you want to do to keep your children healthy and safe more effectively and more quickly. So the first thing I would do is I would look at making a schedule with when are the windows of time that they are allowed to use electronics, and consider setting a maximum daily limit. And that might be maybe a little bit different daily limit on weekdays compared to weekends. Maybe you give them a little more time on weekends. I see a lot of video game addiction in my office. Kids and parents that have been having huge battles and meltdowns for years over video games. Obviously one choice would be to get rid of them, but we can't really, we don't live in a culture where you can really do real well without any technology at all, so they've got to be able to access it when they need to, and be able to put it away when it's important for them to do other things. But I have seen some kids who, especially the younger kids, 6, 7, 8 years old, once they spent about 45 minutes or an hour playing video games, their personality is a little bit different for the rest of the day, and their fuse is a lot shorter. They have more outbursts, they're irritable and grouchy. With some of those kids, it may be a good idea to enforce a larger restriction on using that technology and create a menu of other things that they can do. Maybe go through those closets with all the games from Christmases past that have been piling up in there that aren't being used because the kids are busy with their Roblox or their Minecraft right there, so that they've got a ready list of things that they can do in order to use their leisure time independently and not be in their hair or bugging their siblings or getting into stuff in the house that you don't want them to do. I would also look at having them earn their time with their video games. So if it's a kid, like especially some of the kids on the autism spectrum or with ADHD, for some of them, that's one of their only reinforcers, and they really kind of live for their video games. So maybe you are trying not to take it away completely. So maybe you give them like 20 minutes or some set amount of time that they get just for passing go. They get that amount of time just for being here. They get that every day. But I would identify when they can do that, and then I would be awarding them like maybe points for doing other things, like doing what you say the first time, for being gentle with their body and their words in your house, for completing school type activities in your house, little chores and responsibilities. So you could be awarding them some points for that, and then they could exchange those points for minutes of the technology use time or video game time. So they're kind of in control, and you can still set that maximum. You can say you can exchange points for minutes up to a maximum amount of 1 hour or 2 hours per day. I can't really make a recommendation about exactly how much time is the right time and how much is too much. I think you just have to use your own judgment, and as a parent, that's kind of up to you. But hopefully you won't let your kids just sit there in front of their video games, most of the day, so that you don't have a lot of extra work to do, keeping them busy and out of stuff. Um, so if you are creating some kind of a credit system, and on that resources for free page on Intensivecareforyou.com, that's got the URL and text down here below the video, that there's a behavior management tips and tools course right in the first paragraph of that page. So if you sign up for that course, you'll get 5 emails. It's going to give you some ideas about how to set up a credit system, and so if they're getting points for doing what you want, you don't ever take those points away, because then they might learn that, why bother earning them, because you're just going to take them away anyway. But what you can do if they get really out of sorts or have a huge fit or hit their sibling or something like that, is you can put them on timeout from spending those points. So the technology effectively will be kind of off limits except for their given amount of time. You put them on timeout from spending their points until they've done something to make things right with you, or they've cleaned up their mess, or they've done something to help the sibling that they hurt feel better again, like a 5-minute foot rub, a 10-minute back rub, sharing a favorite toy for a day, performing some small chore or something like that, so that they can redeem themselves, they can reestablish themselves in a success identity instead of a failure identity, so that they are being a family member who's contributing to the culture and climate of your family and household rather than taking away from it. And they can kind of get their self-esteem back, in addition to learning that, outside of your family, you can't really get away with abusing people and still enjoy the same resources that you were getting from being in that relationship. So there's a few ideas for you, and then if you'll go to that resources for free page, there's just tons of stuff that I think you'll find helpful. If you're pulling your hair out and your kids are driving you nuts at home and you're trying to get a few things done too, but it seems like you're just following along behind their behavior, and it's one thing after the other, and you're trying to correct it, and then you're mad at them, and then it's draining, and then you don't feel very good about yourself as a parent, because A, maybe you don't feel like you're effective, and B, maybe you feel like you're being too mean or too negative or too critical all of the time. I think you'll find some of the ideas and tools that you're looking for to help yourself be the parent that you want to be, and be able to do a little bit better job maybe with your kiddos too, in terms of getting them to follow your rules and act the way that you wish they would, and the way they probably do most of the time.